All right, we're also talking about back to school time. Greg, back to school season is here, which means early mornings for families. And for a lot of kids, that also means trying to rest their sleep schedule, to reset, I should say, their sleep schedule. But one thing getting in the way of that is their phones. According to the CDC, more than half of teens spend at least 4 hours a day on screens, and experts say it is costing them both rest and their mental health. Dr. Inessa Donskoy, a pediatric sleep medicine physician at Advocate Children's Hospital, joins us now live with some tips for helping kids unplug and sleep. Good morning to you, doctor. Thank you for being with us. So, doctor, what exactly is sleep pressure and why do we struggle to get adequate rest without it?
Oh, one moment. Sorry, am I muted?
There we go. We can hear you now.
There we go. Sorry about that. So sleep pressure is something we talk about a lot in our sleep clinic, but it's not something that sort of we discuss in the bigger picture of general health. Sleep pressure is just a fancy way to describe how sleepy you need to feel to fall asleep at night. And that set point is so different for everyone. If you just imagine what you feel like in the morning after an adequate amount of sleep, you feel okay, feel fairly rested, and then as you move through your day, you get sleepier, sleepier, sleepier until you get to a point where you're sleepy enough to fall asleep. We know with teens, they can tolerate a lot of sleep pressure, and so they need to feel really sleepy to fall asleep. Sometimes, especially summertime, we're asking less of them. They're waking later in the morning, they might be napping in the afternoon, and they're sometimes sitting around or laying around on their phones, not being as active, and again, not building enough sleep pressure to fall asleep. Sometimes then we end up in the evening, we end up at bedtime, and it's easy to blame a device, right? To say, oh, we're not falling asleep because we're on the device now. But what is sometimes helpful is to step back and say, why is my teen not sleepy yet? Why are they reaching for their device? Have they maybe not built enough sleep pressure so far today?
That's interesting. I never heard of sleep pressure in that sense. So then how can parents be more intentional about their teens' phone usage? Because I am a mother of a teenager, or as they say, a screen-ager, because you've heard that before, I'm sure, Doc. What's the solution here? How do you get them to actually listen to you and get off of the phone and see the benefit of really doing that sleep pressure so they can get a good night's rest?
I think that's a $1,000,000 question. If I could answer how to get them to listen to you, I'd be successful, more successful as a parent also. I think when it comes right down to it, sort of partnering with your teen and saying, okay, I know that being on this device is important to you. Tell me why. Tell me what you're using it for. Are we using it to socialize and plan getting together with friends? That's a phenomenal use. Are we using it to connect with our friends? Well, then maybe let's find a time earlier in the day that it makes more sense to put that planning and engaging so that we're not having to use it in the afternoon. I find it's usually a little bit of an easier sell to say, I'm not taking this away. Let's just sort of compromise together on when and for how long you'll be on it for.
And maybe as parents, we have to get off of our screens and lead by example.
Yes, modeling is the important piece here. I'd love to see the study on how much screen time adults are spending on their devices too.
So what would you suggest, Doctor, would be some activities that can replace screen time and actually like promote healthy sleep habits?
If we're talking about sleep habits, the most important point of sleep hygiene is rising at more or less the same time every day. When we do that, we not only start building our sleep pressure from the same starting point every day, but we also send that message back to our brain saying, this is my morning today, and this will be my morning tomorrow. And that helps your internal clock or your circadian clock understand where to put wake, and then really later on, where to put sleep. When we fall asleep, it's largely just a result of when we woke up that day and when we've been waking up the past few days. So waking up more or less the same time, trying not to put sleep into the day, right? And having a really busy day. Busy, active, moving your body, right?
Okay.
Not just using your brain and your thumbs, but also your physical body. That's going to build sleep pressure and sometimes even just replace the time they'd be on their device. nice.
Yeah, you know what? Those are all some really good tips, Doctor. I'm listening to you and I'm processing and I'm thinking and I'm like, okay, we're going to implement that because we showed a lot of video of kids being active. Maybe if they have a late practice, they'll sleep really well and have pressure. So thank you so much for your time this morning. To watch this interview with Dr. Inessa Donskoy, again, head to abc7chicago.com and our news app. We'll be right back after a quick break.